And Brian's panning across now to what is going to be a really beautiful shot that I hope you enjoy. You okay there, Brian?
Yeah, of course I'm anything.
Brian's work has been made more difficult now by the fact that there's a big cover over the camera, and it makes getting to all the different buttons and toggles more difficult for him, and it also there's quite a lot of Velcro on it that's getting stuck to his raincoat, so apologies for any funny audio that you may pick up, but at least we are still broadcasting. Now, there's a fairly large riverbed that these lions will need to cross shortly, but that's not a major issue because we will be able to link across onto another road where we can wait for them to pop out if they continue down into this riverbed. So we do have a good plan locating them, but what it does mean is we will have to loop ahead if it gets to that point. Just got a question through from Cecilia on Twitter. Good afternoon, Cecilia, and welcome on board. Cecilia is asking whether the elephants can smell the lions, and they certainly do have the ability to smell them. We saw them smell Nkuhuma the leopard before they actually saw him the other day, so yes, they can. And the wind is actually blowing from the elephants towards the lions. I think that's why they haven't picked up any audio and appear to still be very relaxed, even though they are so close to these lions. So if the wind had been blowing the other way, I'm sure we would have had a very different response from the elephants. We saw a breeding herd chase off the two timber males the other day, which was funny to watch, and when the timber males didn't waste any time in getting out of there as quickly as possible. As a cow and a few of her calves trundled off into the bushes after this big male lion. They only saw one and chased him, the other one got away without missed, but one dominant. Okay, so there's a bushbuck that's just popped up here. It's looking right at the lion, and they haven't seen it yet. If it had have walked up in a slightly different point, it would have walked straight into a death trap, but it got lucky. And Brian's just panning across to it now, and I'm sure we could well hear its alarm call. The Inyala didn't alarm call, they just ran off. But the bushbuck, like the Inyala and the kudu, all part of the same family, have a very similar alarm call, almost like a dog barking. So let's see if it does it for us, but it knows what's going on. And the lion don't. Lions are holding their... Oh, they're the one lion. So, sorry, it's not a bushbuck, it's a baby Inyala. And look at the lion right in front of the vehicle here. It's a young Inyala, which... Oof, the lion are going around, and they're going to split up now. Look at them trying to sneak as quietly as they can through the vegetation. The rest of the pride have realized what's going on. And, oh, there it goes, but I don't think it's going to get lucky. No, there it goes off to the right, and the Inyala's miles ahead of the lion. But what could happen now is that the rest of this herd of Inyala could head in any direction, and there will be other Inyala here. Oh, that was exciting. There could well be other Inyala here within that same herd, because that one certainly wouldn't have been alone. And it's the benefit that lion have by hunting and prides and groups like this is that if animals do flee, they could flee into other members of the pride. Whew. I thought that young Nyala was going to reach. It got lucky, as they often do. It is often the prey that escape the predator. And depending on the pride and their luck at any given moment, they have only a 10 to 20% strike rate, which is very low and understandable because the prey animals have evolved and adapted to escape being caught. They're still alert, they're still aware that there could be other potentials here, potential prey here. But sadly, they shall go hungry for a few more hours. I wonder if this will entice them to keep on moving, looking for more food. That close call. Thankfully the rain is still just pitter-pattering, so we seriously are having a lucky afternoon. Everything's coming together. And quite fitting and deserved for us to be enjoying such a great sighting of lion after having spent so much time watching them sleep over the last few weeks. I really can't stress that point enough. And that could well be due to this cooler weather, the rain that they are moving now. If it was a scorching hot day, they may not be on the move. So the short break we had on the beginning of the drive due to the rain is possibly a small sacrifice to pay for the great viewing we're getting now. Back to somebody's question from earlier, I'm not sure, I think it was as they started getting mobile that I stopped answering it, so that I could ensure that we got ahead of them, so we got those good views of them walking down the road. And I can't remember who asked the question, but the question was whether male lions do contribute to hunting, and they certainly do. And what's also important to remember is that male lions are often alone, especially when they become dominant. If you think of the two Matimbas that we've been seeing, who used to be part of a coalition of 4, that now have kind of split into 2 groups of 2. Unless they are mating, they have no major reason to be with the lioness, unless there's of course food that they've stumbled upon coincidentally at the right time with the lioness. So they will often be doing a lot of hunting on their own, and we've witnessed that. We've come across them with buffalo that they've killed alone, and they are big and strong male lions, and then they target bigger and stronger prey that's slower but more dangerous to take down and only can be taken down by big males, well, it's easier for them to take them down, so they certainly can hunt for themselves and often do even contribute if they are with the lioness. Coincidentally, when they are hunting and they do come across buffalo, there's a much higher likelihood that that buffalo will get killed because of the presence of the male lions. And even this young male in this pride, he will bring a lot of strength and almost kind of bravado as an adolescent teenage boy would to the hunting, and therefore may be a little bit more inclined to throw himself onto buffalo and larger, more dangerous game for them to take down. Now, the question is, oh, it looks like the elephant is still quite close to us and may even be coming to investigate. You just see its tail wag behind a bush.
I wonder if we can root back there.
So these elephants are still right here. There hasn't been more of a commotion, and that's especially considering the fact that the lion did run past where the elephant is standing now, so it could well, or should well pick up that scent, but may simply not be too perturbed. Good afternoon and welcome on board. I think that elephant sounded like it just had a sneeze almost, if you're wondering what that sound was. And Erica's question is whether lions will hunt in stormy weather. And yes, indeed they will. And it's actually great weather for hunting in, because you could imagine how the prey senses are dampened. It's harder to see in the rain. So it's easier for the lion to stalk up and approach the prey. There's also a lot of movements often from wind and storms, and that wind will create blurs the lion's approach. It will also completely muffle the lion's footsteps as they approach closer to their prey, and that's a very big one. With the cover of darkness, if they can approach something without it being able to hear them sneaking up on them, as they wouldn't be in the rain because there's so much other ambient noise, it makes for good hunting opportunities. It really would be nice if this elephant continues to feed towards us, and I think she might. She's a beautiful old cow. And is she going to come through this little gap? She might. And her calf's following close behind, so... Oh, luck continues. Look at her sniffing the air. Now this is the lion that she's smelling. And this will be interesting. We just don't want to get caught in the crossfire here. And we are kind of positioned directly in. I think there's That way we're interfering less, we are giving the elephants an opportunity to see the lion, even though the elephant's eyesight isn't good. Are you coming up to say hello to us? Oh, hello. Uh-oh. Settle down, old lady. It's the lions you should be worried about, not us. And the whole rest of the herd's coming past and the lion are all running off. But Brian might be able to just get it. No, they've all disappeared, and good for us because now the lions are on the move. Listen to that rumbling. It's one of the most awesome noises to hear. It might happen again. And that was the elephant letting off that low rumble. I can still see the lion peering back at the elephant through the vegetation here. And let's see if we're not going to be able to get lucky and get a visual of them in the same shots. It's difficult, it's so thick. But the good news is the elephants have got the lion on the move for us. So what I'm going to do is this might work.
The drive back is just